guys. Come on.
Yes, we are very glad to see that you all are very interested and enthusiastic in this very early morning, and you all want to connect with each other. So keep dropping in your LinkedIn ID so that everybody can connect with each other over here. And we are waiting. We're still waiting. Thank you for being patient with us, and we will soon start with the opening ceremony. It's our privilege and great pleasure to welcome you all to the KIIT Startup Konclave 2021 on behalf of the KIIT Entrepreneurship Cell.
Thank you everyone for joining us today. We assure you all that you will be having a great time today and that everyone will learn something new from here.
Before we get started with all the enthralling events lined up for today, here's a short introduction to the Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology and the KIIT Entrepreneurship Cell.
Well, Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology was established in 1993 through the rigorous efforts of our beloved founder, Dr. Achyutananda Samant. Within a time span of fewer than 2 decades, the university has acquired a reputation as a top-notch educational organization, nurturing more than 30,000 students and faculty members. The Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences provides education, overall care, and nurtures more than 30,000 tribal students from nursery to post-graduation and brings forward those left behind.
KIIT Entrepreneurship Cell was founded in 2013 and is currently supporting 20 plus startups in collaboration with numerous others. KIIT Cell is incomplete without KIIT Technology Business Incubator. KIIT TBI, a recipient of the National Award for TBI in 2017, is supported by several government bodies to build the entrepreneurial ecosystem in Orissa.
So, let's take a quick peek into the world of KIIT Startup Konclave. Well, that was an amazing clip to begin the conclave with. So, are you guys excited for the KSK 2021? Let us know in the chat box. Well, that's awesome. We have all gathered here to celebrate technology, knowledge, and innovation among the young minds present today and hope to inculcate the spark of entrepreneurship and leadership. Now, I would like to request our dignitaries to commemorate the occasion. Now, I would request Dr. Saroj Kumar Mahapatra, Director of KIIT School of Management, to bestow upon us a few words of wisdom and start this ceremony on a good note.
Good morning, To all participants in today's conclave, esteemed Professor Dr. Sasmitarani Samanta, Pro Vice Chancellor, KIIT Dean to the University, and Chairperson of KIIT Technology Business Incubator, esteemed Mr. Sumit Sri Babu, co-founder of Epic Indify and our keynote speaker of the day, my colleagues, Professor Kumar Mahanti, Professor Saranjit Singh, and Professor Devadatta, Atrija, Stefan, and our inspiration, Sri Shamir Panda, Vice President KIIT, Sri Bhubaneswar, Director General of KIIT India. Good morning and a warm welcome to the Startup Konclave 2021 edition of KIIT eCell. On behalf of all the members of KIIT eCell and startup enthusiasts of KIIT University, especially KIIT Anyone Testament Cell, eCell, DBI, and my own field of management. At the outset, let me pay my humble gratitude to the Honorable Founder, Dr. Achyutananda Samanta, for kindling the spirit of entrepreneurship way back in the 90s by planting two saplings, KIIT and KISS, which I call the original startups in Bhubaneswar. All of you know, in the last 25 years, how much those two saplings have grown, and we are all part of that huge movement today. Way back in my career, about 40 years ago, I started as a young manager in the public sector. The first feeling of HR manager that I got was I was seated on a table facing the trade unions, and the process was called a collective bargaining. Then I wondered, what is this going on? On the one side, there was a trade union which was representing the interest of employees or workers, as you call it. On the other side, there was management, which I was also representing, which was basically representing the cause of all other stakeholders. Initially, I was thinking probably it was representing the cause of only the bunch of managers who were seated along with me, right up to the managing director or chairman. But actually, they were representing the cause of all other stakeholders. In any business, there are 6 basic stakeholders. And any new business can start with any of those 6. But it has followed an evolutionary process. When Industrial Revolution 1 happened, until that particular point of time, all the manufacturing process was basically cottage process. There was no large-scale manufacturing setup. So business basically meant trading. So those who had the money, so the primary stakeholder was the person who had money in his pocket. That was the primary stakeholder. If I fast forward about 50, 60 years, then if you look at the concepts that have evolved in the West, gradually it evolved to a concept called balanced scorecard, where on the top, they put the financial perspective. So money was the primary driver of starting something. But everything changed through the 3 subsequent industrial revolutions. When IR2 happened, you had electricity coming in, you had automation coming in, large-scale manufacturing activities coming in. At that time, the ideas around manufacturing, the ideas around quality, those kind of concepts could become startups. So the people who had the money, they were not the original idea givers anymore, but the idea givers could become people who were the large-scale operators. Then a time came through the next phase of industrial revolution, which is called the electronics revolution. When IT3, Industrial Revolution 3 happened. From automation, we started getting into a situation where small also became beautiful. So the scale did not matter. In a lab scale also, somebody can do competitive things. So a small enterprise could compete with the large enterprise. That is basically that starting point of it would be when IBM was coexisting with the startup of Bill Gates. When Bill Gates dreamed that how can I bring this large computer to the benefit of each household, right? So at that time, a new concept took birth, that it is the primary stakeholder is now not operations, but the primary stakeholder is the user. And during this entire period of 60s, 70s, and 80s, most of the organizations looked at customers as the centerpiece of all innovations or all startups. So customer centricity became the buzzword. Then with the IT power enhancing through the internet, the dimension straight away came to the people's hand. So now if you see the ecosystem for a startup, it begins with problem solving for ordinary people. Earlier, it was inconceivable that you can start a business looking at solving a problem in your neighborhood. But today, it is possible to start a business for solving a small problem, simple problem in the neighborhood. And we have umpteen examples before us. I don't have to talk about the Uberization of entire business. Everywhere, people start with a very simple idea, small idea to solve somebody's problem, whether it is the Oyo story, or it is the Ola story, or it is any story. If you look at a Make My Trip story, or you will see the Epic story. Any story you see, the story is basically solving a problem. And around those problems, so when solving the problem became the primary issue, so anybody can have a startup. Funding became no issue, because the people who have the money, they have only one concern: how best that money will grow. Originally, they were taking all the trouble of growing that money. But now, when so many people and so many medium is available to them for growing their money, they are trusting more and more young people, their ideas. The only thing is, at this stage, I would say that people should not get tired too early or enthused too early. It's a long journey. Business is a long journey. Anything one starts, it has to be sustained, it has to be scaled up. It is not about just getting Series 1 to Series 15 funding. It is about making the business sustainable. And there are stories of Amazon, there are stories, many stories, which say that those who actually sustained it in the long run, believed in their idea, they survived. Those who decide to retire prematurely after getting some good start, trying to get out of that and going into something else, shifting, that actually did not go very far. So today we are having a startup conclave. A lot of new ideas will come, a lot of new entrepreneurs will meet, a lot of young people will meet. I was looking at the stats in India. 38,000 startups are existing in India. And in 2021 itself, 35 have become unicorn. What great story. And if I compare to the previous 2015-16, around this time, the modern startup system started. I'm not talking about the startup which our honorable founder started long back or the earlier startups. In the modern sense, the startup, that's ecosystem started in somewhere in 2016, 15-16. So during 5 years, say 30 unicorns were there, 5-6 years or 10 years. And just in 2021, just after the year of the, even the pandemic is not over, we had 35 unicorns. And India is becoming rapidly the largest startup ecosystem in the entire world. Today, officially they call it number 3, but I think probably unofficially it is the largest. If you look at every corner of India, how it is going. So I don't want to take more time. A lot of eminent speakers are there, and basically young minds will have more vibrant ideas. I thought of putting it into a historical perspective, that how there is a reversal of stakeholder, that in the beginning the finance was calling all the say, and then the operation was calling all the say, and in between customers were calling all the say. Somewhere the bargaining chip was coming from the employees, but today only the idea is having say. Only the good idea and the problem, solving the problem of the society is in the long run, that has become sustainable. If KIIT and KISS has become sustainable today, because it has come at a time when education was facing a big problem outside. All the government education systems were failing, and it came as a savior because it really solved the people's issue. Similarly, all the startups which have succeeded and which are going to succeed tomorrow are going to succeed if they can realistically and in long term solve the problems of society. I wish this conference all success, and once again, I welcome all the dignitaries to this startup conclave of KIIT TBI. It is going from strength to a entrepreneurship cell in collaboration with TBI. The system is gaining strength to strength year after year. I congratulate all the members of E-Cell for their sustainable approach. And once again, welcome everybody. And thank you for giving this opportunity to say a few words, share a few thoughts. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir, for your invaluable words. Now, I would like to request Dr. Kumar Mohanty, Director of Corporate Relations and Faculty in Charge of KIIT Entrepreneurship Cell, to inspire us with a few words.
Thank you. Good morning to everybody. A special welcome to our keynote speaker for the day today. And I must say, when Dr. Mahapatra was talking about the way startups have grown in India, I think it is remarkable. From 55,000 startups today, 3,200 of them have generated more than about $63 billion in the last 5 years. That just talks about the tenacity of how this movement, if I were to say startups as a whole, would have happened in the last couple of years. Having said this, I think Dr. Mahapatra also talked about the fact that an entrepreneur needs to have problem-solving skills, also has to have risk-taking skills, and somebody who has the vision that this is what I want to achieve, this is the time frame that I want to achieve, and this is the path that I want to achieve. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure the students from KIT and KISS would know, for the information of our guests and all the participants from across the country, a word about Dr. Achyut Samanto, who is the founder of KIIT and KISS, also was somebody who dared to dream, who dared to achieve, and has gone across to achieve. A very successful story of an edupreneur who today has brought a smile on the faces of 30,000 students underprivileged children year on year on year. This is where we are talking about Kalinga Institute of Social Sciences. And on the other hand, we have Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, which is an institute of eminence, an IOE status university with students excelling across, with corporates from all across coming down and visiting the campus. Having said that, it gives me immense pleasure that Entrepreneurship Cell, which started way back in 2013, and just a year when I joined this university from the industry, I'm happy to put in the thought today that this entrepreneurship cell has grown not just in volume, but in terms of the activities they have done. Year on year, the entrepreneurship cell used to organize summits. Now, these summits were typically a platform where we used to have a lot of successful entrepreneurs coming, sharing their success stories with students, at the same time conducting workshops for the students, which slowly started translating into these startups coming back and telling us, we would want your students to work with us, maybe as interns going forward working with us full time also. Beyond that, we went across, and startups across the country started reaching out to Entrepreneurship Cell and to the universities saying that we would like to partner with you. What I'm trying to bring in here, ladies and gentlemen, is the fact that students of this university, and particularly the Entrepreneurship Cell, have that passion in them, have that skill in them, that not just academics, not just a plump corporate job, but starting something on their own. So when we talk about the entrepreneurship summits that we have had over the years, it would have eminent speakers like people from across political, business, from the media. We had people like Prabhu Chawla, we had people like Sashi Tharoor, we had people like Anil Bhasin, who was the ex-president of Havels, Dan Ram, and many others, just to name a few, who've gone back and talked about the activities of entrepreneurship cell of KIIT University outside. We've also had the entrepreneurship cell organizing a lot of industry academia interactions. And today, I'm proud to say that we have companies like BMW, Volvo, many companies, even in the electric vehicle segment, who have looked at collaborating with our students and working on light projects and otherwise also. Having said this, the purpose of these summits is to bring across industry and academia together, sharing of ideas, enriching ideas both ways. And going forward, we are going to see a lot of good activities happening across the next few days in this entrepreneurship summit. I welcome all of you. I welcome all our guests. I welcome all the participants from outside. And I must say, the students of entrepreneurship itself have done a wonderful job in getting this. Wish you all the very best as we move forward. Thank you.
We would be informing that Pro Vice Ma'am has not yet joined with us. I think she has some connectivity issues, so we'll be moving on with our next speaker.
So now it is time to call upon someone who has a vision to bring about the latest trends of AI and automation into the field of banking and financial institutions. The one whose young technology company has built the present market into his side of the arena, a man destined to transform the quality of service to its customers. So, without much further ado, we would like to request the most awaited top of the hour, our keynote speaker for today's ceremony, Mr. Shushmit Sribabu, co-founder of Epic Info, to grace us with his inspiring thoughts.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay. First of all, thank you very much for having me here. It is always a pleasure to talk to the academia, and I always say nowadays that when you're actually in the college, you don't, realize, but once you move out of the college, you miss that, environment quite a lot. So I take every opportunity nowadays to interact with academia and rekindle my memories of the college life. So thank you very much again, and it was really insightful to hear Dr. Esteem Ankata speaking. And nothing like years of experience having an under the belt. It's always good to hear from veterans. So I have been asked to share my lessons, and what I'm going to do today is in our journey of Epic in last 5 years. What we have learned, I would like to share some insights with all of you, and hopefully that will help, that will sow some seeds of entrepreneurship in each one of you. But before I do that, let me share my screen. Okay, so a few words on who we are and what we do. So we started our journey in 2016. We are a B2B fintech company, and our focus is on building enterprise-ready tech platforms that can provide the support solutions to the financial industry. So what we saw when we started this whole journey was that the enterprise, while there is a lot of traction in B2C space where a lot of apps and all were coming, but there was also a huge market in the enterprise segment where we could partner with the banks and the financial services company and give them something ready, so that they don't have to take a long drawn tech transformations to be able to serve their customers. So that was the thought process that we started with. We are headquartered in Chennai, with our development centers across Chennai and Bangalore, and with our sales and implementation offices across Sydney, Melbourne, and we are in the process of looking at our first office in Southeast Asia in Singapore. In these 5 years, we have established our presence. We started our journey in Australia in a very small way. From Australia, then we moved on to Mauritius. From Mauritius, we moved on to India, and currently, in addition to these three regions, we are present in Africa as well as one of the countries in Southeast Asia. Our aspiration is to be a dominant player in this region and serve the enterprise segment in this. Um, we are currently a 100 plus member company, and we are looking to grow at a really fast pace in these coming 3 years. Our aspiration is to become a really large player in top five large players in the enterprise segment, and that's something that we are working towards. That's our big, hairy, audacious goals. Um, the first thing that from my journey and in our journey, I felt was uh, purpose is important. Right? While there is a lot of buzz today and everyone wants to do something, no matter how much we talk about the cause, there is always this money angle that can we do something and can we this sort of fast track our careers and short circuit our careers. But I'll tell you something, and and that's where you can see what Dr. Mahapatra said. See, it's a hard grind. Nothing is easy. You need to be ready for a long journey, right? And what helps you in that long journey is your purpose. So purpose has to be your guiding principle for anything that you do, and not just money. Money is secondary. Money is going to come if you are clear about the purpose, you're passionate about the execution, you will see that money will follow you, right? Because when you do things right, when you cater to to white space in the market or to an opportunity in the market, there will be takers for your offer, right? But your guiding principle has to be the purpose. So when we were, and all we are three founders, myself, my founder, other co-founder, Mr. Rajendra Avasthi, who's in Chennai in India, and the third co-founder, Shubhama Banerjee, who's in Sydney, Australia. We worked together for about a decade in previous organization, and we were working. We were involved in the business of banking technology. So we used to deploy co-banking products in the large institutions across the globe. And when we were doing that, we saw that if you have to do a core banking transformation, it is unheard of doing any implementation in 2 to 3 months, right? It is always a prolonged 18 months, 24 month cycle, and it is so long that the business case in itself becomes sort of questionable over that as you progress, right? There is a huge team that needs to be set up within the enterprise. I mean, when we were working with one of the large clients, our the project team size itself was about 200 people. Can you imagine an enterprise taking away revenue generating for people, running their core business and divert them towards actually doing this sort of thing? This is an app for disruption, because that is something which if you could do you could build a platform that could do that for the customer, rather than they having to put up such a big team to undertake a tech transformation, or be it a digital banking or be it an internet banking. It takes huge amount, right? So that was the we saw that that is a problem statement that exists in the enterprise space. Can we do something which helps the business to become the technology, rather than setting up a large tech transformation office with so many people going through a 2 year cycle, right? So that with that purpose, we started this company, saying that our aim is to simplify the whole enterprise tech transformation, where anything that we do and anything that we offer, even if the when we give that to the customer, a business guy should be able to quickly configure and roll out, right? So be it let's say a finance company who wants to who wants to launch, let's say, a digital lending for personal loan, right? Now for them to be able to launch an app to their customer or on the web, to be able to take all the details of the customer, identify them online, do their income and expense checks, do the underwriting, and right up to disbursement. And once the disbursement is done, do a timely collection, right? So all of that uh, is something that we said that these are the areas. And when we build a platform, when we give it to an enterprise, they should be simply use a platform to create offerings for all of their stakeholders, right? So be it enterprises customer, be it enterprises business partners, be it enterprises service providers, or be it enterprises their own employees, right? So that was the purpose that we started. And the purpose is important because what you will see is when you start working, and especially when you start making revenues, it is very easy to get to go astray. And why I say astray is because you will find some or other opportunity which gives you money, right? And it is very easy to lose focus and say, hey, here is an opportunity, this is giving us, let's say, $1 million, or let's say a 200K, right? Let's take this opportunity. But what we don't realize is that if that is not that is not in line with our larger purpose, it is going to be a short term, right? So you need to stay focused, and you can only stay focused and not go astray if you're anchored and rooted in your purpose. So one of such pivotal moments was there very early in our life cycle, in about 2 years, where we because we and I mean, we had an opportunity in the services sector where if we had gone ahead with that, it would have given us a lot of revenues, but it would have come at the cost of our purpose of building simplified products for the enterprise, right? Because it would have taken that focus. And then when we sat down and we said, no, this our purpose is to always build products, platforms for the enterprise. Our purpose is not to make money in short term, right? Money will follow. And that was a pivotal moment, and we see the results of that hard decision today, right? So it is extremely important for all of you, anyone who is starting up, that you need to be clear of the purpose. You need to be passionate towards the purpose. And purpose can be anything. It need not be, I mean, someone may be very passionate and let's say improving our neighborhood in terms of road qualities, in terms of senior citizens, be let the neighborhood be comfortable for senior citizens, or the neighborhood be comfortable for anyone to sort of go out in any weather, right? It could be anything. It is about what you feel is required, right? So keep that in mind. That's an extremely important point to keep in mind. Our purpose was, we let business be the technology. We wanted to empower the business to just use the platform without taking big tech transformations. Second is, choose your approach, right? There is, and again, there is no one way of looking at things. It depends on who you are, what stage you are at in your life. And but I always look at things in a longer term. We were very clear at Epic, we are not in for short term valuation. At Epic, we wanted to build an institution with a long term value and a sustainable business models, and we were ready to go through the hard grind. We are okay not to go public in first 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Our intent was not to gain valuation and exit and make money, right? Because we are looking at building an enterprise that will sustain for a century, that will employ a lot of people, that will help our societies, our countries, and our other countries to be able to generate employment everywhere. That is what our aim was, right? And so we took a very our approach was always to do a long term. And we also took away. And when you start up, there is again, it depends of what stage you are in. You may want to bootstrap, or you may go for funding straight away. It depends on what stage we are in. All of us, having spent about 2 decades, all our founders and founding team, having spent decades in either in banking technology or in banks, we said that no, let's, because we had not done this earlier. We are all the co-founders, we are a first generation entrepreneurs in our families. Our families had never been in the business, right? So we had not done this, so we said no, we will do it our way. And we knew that we will make mistakes, we knew we will fail, and from there we wanted to learn more things. So we decided to bootstrap ourselves. And by God's grace, by our hard work, by the hard work of the founding team and our employees, till this date, we have built a sustainable enterprise, and we are bootstrapped. But again, like I said, there is no one way. You have to decide how you want to do you want to be bootstrapped, do you want to do funding in first 1 year, in first 2 years? But it's always a long term. It helps, because when you build something in long term, and when you look in hindsight that so many people are benefiting from it, be it directly or indirectly, it is really a proud moment. Because you can see things taking shape, right? So keep that in mind. And and work. I would recommend not to look at it very short term, but it depends on what sort of opportunity you take. Again, I would encourage people to work together. When you start up on your own, you need sounding
Himanshu,
boards, you need people with you at the table, with whom you can soundboard ideas, with whom you can discuss pros and cons, right? It's always good to have people with you. But most often what we do is, by nature, we always feel at ease with people who are like minded, right? So if I think in a certain way, if I have a certain political view, if I have a certain business idea, if there are three other people on the table, and one guy supports me and other two guy don't supports me, by nature we will be drawn towards saying that, hey, oh, this is the guy I would like to work with, right? That's what I call it as a like-minded. But you really need to see, whether you want everyone to be like-minded, or whether you want people who are aligned. Right now, what does it mean? What is the difference between like-minded and aligned, right? So first of all, when you are building your own tribe, see, building a business model needs, building a sustainable business needs, it's a multifaceted. It is not just a tech product that you build and people will line up. Because there are building a company is like a growing baby, right? And infants needs, and the amount of love and care, and what is required by an infant to what is required by a young kid, to an adolescent, to an adult, the needs and the way you interact with the person changes, right? So it is important. There is an operational aspect in the business. There is the whole people. There is culture. There is business. There is sales. There is technology. So there are a lot of things. You need different kind of experiences for you to become a successful business enterprises, and not everything kicks in together. But when you take a midterm to short term view, you will need those sort of skills on the table, right? A sales skill is very different from a CEO skill. A head of technology is very different from a sales skill. Now everyone cannot do everything, right? So you have to look at least there has to be some sort of different experience skills on the table. Okay, and more importantly, what you need is, when you are in the journey of building a company, I can tell you from my experience, you will disagree more often than you agree, right? So it is important to have people with whom you can have vehement disagreements, with you can have, screaming and shouting matches. But once the discussion is over, you can still sit at the table with them and, have a conversation. The very next day, have have a morning coffee with them or a tea with them, and not being bothered with what disagreements were there, because when you are working, as a collection of team, it is important, once the collective approach and decision has been taken, even though personally I don't agree, I need to work with that, because that is the collective decision that has happened, right? So it is very important to have people, who can move on, who are not hurt by disagreements. So I always say that you need people with whom you disagree, but then you can move on and work. I would rather work with those people than have people who always agree with me and keep me in comfort zone. So build your own tribe, right? Build different skills, build people who can who bring different perspectives to the table and challenge you. This is, I think, one thing which at least we learned in a hard way. Do not try to build everything together, right? You trying to do so many things together, you will lose focus. So we very early on, because we had worked in the industry for 2 decades, when we had, I personally had a lot of ideas as to how the culture should be built, how the people interaction should happen. But everything has a time, right? When you start up, we need to realize that you're starting from scratch. So what is important is first building the product and first building the revenue models. Everything else will follow. If you get the sequence right, you try to build the people, you try to build the culture, or you try to build the scale first, you are bound to go wrong. The focus initially has to be on building product and revenue model, people and culture. The moment you have that in a place, you can start giving shape to people and culture, because business always drives an organization, right? The market opportunities drives an organization. That is what should be your focus in the beginning, and not the other way, right? We tried that early on, and we realized that what happens is, if you spend too much, your focus, if it is on not business side of activities, while you may build a great office, you may build great culture, but ultimately when it comes to grabbing opportunities, you will not be able to grab, because your focus is not that. So initially, when you are looking at things, your initial 2 3 years should be solely focused. All your decisions should be solely focused on, based on what your purpose is, based on what the business model is, based on what the problem you're solving. Right? It has to be external focused. So if you do that, then you would have laid the foundation based on which then you can start looking at things and scale. So that's a key learning for myself as well, in my journey in these 5 years. And last but not the least, in fact, this is the this is the trick, this is the secret ingredient. See, what happens is, when if you can always use, if anything is complex, any idea is too complex, you can be rest assured that you should really cut it and simplify. You try to solve a complex problem, it becomes difficult to scale, right? So try to simplify the problem and go all out at the scale, right? And always know that, see, it's a horses for courses approach. You try to The market is quite dynamic today, right? There's a huge amount of competitions, there are existing players, and like Dr. Mahapatra said, there are about 38,000 startups in the country, right? So there is a huge competition. Everyone is working, and everyone is going for the kill, right? So it is important for you to sort of take an incremental approach. You try to think that, okay, I know, I have worked in this area, and you'll be surprised, actually. You will think that, okay, I have a decade experience or a 2 decades experience, I know everything. I will build a product that will that will solve all the problems. I will take 2 to 3 years to build it and then go and launch in the market. You will be surprised that you will go wrong, right? What you need to do is you need to take a do a simple thing first, and start with a POC or start with a prototype. Do a prototype, go and do a dipstick with your customers, or do and go a dipstick in the market and find ways to do that, right? So when we started, ours is a digital platform that can be used by an enterprise to to launch an app for their customers or their business partners, or launch a business on the web, right? It's a complete digital automation platform. So our journey, how it started is, given our background on the banking, and this was way back 5 years back. When we looked at, we said, why do we need to go to a bank to open an account, right? Why can't we have digital opening? Why can't we open the accounts digitally? So we started with a very small idea of having a digital form to open savings account. All it was simple screens where a customer can come, give his or her details, give details for KYC and submit. That was the idea that we started with, that simple screen, right? Now, when we did that and when we reached out to the first customer, they said, we already have a form. It's there on our website, right? What we are struggling with is, when we put up such a link on our website, there are so many people who come and request for personal loan, right? But out of 1,000 leads, actually about 20 leads are only valid. Can you help us in in giving a digital opening, but at the same time weed out unwanted? Because what happens is, we spend 80% of our time on unwanted leads that do not qualify, and we leave those 20%. We would like to spend 100% of our time on those 20% of the leads. Can you do that? Now, with that, when we did, this was not the idea, but we understood, what is the challenge that the customer is facing. We quickly pivoted and we said, yes, we can do that. We can bring online connectors which can identify who that person is. Or what we can do is, we can build a simple scorecard model which helps you weed out by asking simple questions, getting simple, obviously on the face value, by getting simple income and expense details. And that really helped. Once we did that, then we started reaching out to other customers. Then we realized that the other customer wanted not only just the link, right? Not just to weed out the unwanted ones and work on 20%. They said, see, you're anyway accepting the leads, you are getting all the details. For that 20%, you please do the online ID check as well, right? Then so step by step, right? So we started with the customer journey, then we moved on to adding online connectors, then we moved on to adding, then they said, okay, for our personal loan, here is our template of credit decisioning, this is how we do, so why don't you automate the mid office process as well, right? So we had a customer journey, then we started building the user journeys, then we started building the partner journeys, we started building the service journeys, and using AI, ML, we started building the credit scoring models, and we have an entire digital automation platform, right? So it is an incremental journey. So choose your approach. Start with a do a small POC, build a prototype, do dipstick, move on to MVP. Once MVP is there, then you scale, right? So that really helps. So keep in mind these points. These were the points that I wanted to cover. I hope I'm able to give insights to you, and encourage you to start your own journey. Thank you once again for having me here, and I wish all of you all the best for your conclave and days to come.
Well, thank you so much, sir, for such insightful resource. I am very sure that our participants would find it really inspiring and resourceful. So now I would like to request our convener of KIIT Startup Conclave, Professor Kumar Devdutt, to present us with the vote of thanks.
Thank you. Where education and enlightenment embellish passion, where research and renovation rejuvenate profession, where innovation and intervention illustrate vocation, where excellence and eminence epitomizes mission. This is Kalinga Institute of Industrial Technology, KIIT, deemed to be university. The KIIT strives relentlessly to emblematize the citizens with these four instruments of startup ecosystem to transform and transcend themselves, becoming evident and effervescent in their entrepreneurial endeavors. This is Kumar Bhubaneswar, wishing you all a very good morning. There are instances of individuals who are like nations in their impact on the world. We have one such profound, prudent, and powerful representation of this. Our honorable founder, KIT and KSS, Professor Dr. Tathagato Aman. And his leadership is leading the way. The chairman of the conclave, Dr. S.K. Mishra, Director, KIT School of Management. The keynote speaker, esteemed Mr. Sushmit Babu, co-founder, Epic Innovative Digital Finance, Epic Indica. The context setter, esteemed Dr. Kumar Mohanty, Director, Public Relations. The KIIT Startup Konclave aims to provide a platform to the startup community, enabling them to share their opinions and ideas to find it possible and to grab the opportunities to get noticed among the investors and the mentors to support their ventures. We try this through various workshops, panel discussions, and immense networking opportunities. We aim to create a platform of productivity and innovation with the belief that it might give rise to a new generation of successful startups. We are enlightened to have with us Mr. Sumit Babu as keynote speaker and all the notable dignitaries of KIIT University. I hope it will surely be a wonderful opportunity to have these amazing people share their insights on how to step into the entrepreneurial world and ace in it. Let's hear from the stalwarts whose contribution to startup ecosystem is phenomenal, whose effort to promote startup culture is incredible in the upcoming sessions. Here, I'll try to focus on a couple of aspects. The participants who are here, some of them might be into the startup, some might be thinking of it, and some might be on our own. So quickly let us try to understand what are the fundamental requirements to think of. Incidentally, the fundamental requirements are there with us. It is intuitively existing within us, but we are probably unable to estimate and evaluate it. If we have the proper communication, skill set, competency, consistency, creativity, and collaboration, we call it 5P of startup. Then we are eligible to 65. If we talk about academic journey, we all have been through and we all have been taught, we all have been experiencing this, and we might have developed a skill in problem solving. So here what I'm trying to focus is, let us try to face this problem solving idea and let us try to defrag it into problem finding and problem solving. Mostly the problem lies with the first one, problem finding. So we can focus on this problem finding, and we all are into problem solving always. So in this context, I must thank the chairman of the conclave, Dr. Tathagato, for his informative and stimulating words. I must thank Dr. Kumar Manti for sharing his thoughts on the startup culture and sharing information about the startup conclave, which was exciting and exhilarating. The experience and the journey that our esteemed keynote speaker had been through, that what he shared, it is very inventive. I must thank our keynote speaker, Mr. Vishnu Babu. The architect of this conclave, Dr. Taranjit Singh, Director, Industry Engagement, for his unparalleled and unprecedented support. I must thank the support and logistics system for their prompt and pedantic responses. The team E-Cell, the members who are super energetic and enthusiastic, and for their incredible support to make it happen. The ICE sale members, the CAS team, and the CR team for their remarkable support in promoting the entire event. And I sincerely thank the participants, those who were super enthusiastic and exuberant and shown their interest and inquisitiveness to become a part of this service. We hope that this new episode of KIIT Startup Konclave will open a new avenue for you, and you make the most of this opportunity laid out for you. I, Kumar Devadatta, mark the KIIT Startup Konclave open. Thank you.
Thank you so much, sir.
The much awaited event is finally here. It gives us immense pleasure to announce to you all the commencement of the grand event KIIT Startup Konclave 2021. Thank you to all the participants, dignitaries, and our chief guest for joining us in the opening ceremony. We are going to have a number of panel discussions beginning from 11 a.m. to 12:30 p.m. named Robozone, WebSec, and Agritech, followed by Biznari and Advocacy starting from 12:30 p.m. to 2 p.m. And our main event, Hawkeye Workshop, starts from 2:30 p.m. to 4:30 p.m. and finally the closing ceremony from 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. So, join in and make the most of the opportunities we have laid out for you. The links will be available in the chat box.
Finally, we would like to thank our official sponsors and partners, our hospitality partner, Galaxy Hospitality, our style partner, badelog.in, savings partner, Grab On, our legal partner, Lawyers, knowledge partner, LWT, our certificate partner, Give My Certificate, media partner, startupnews.fyi, and our wall decor partner, Landron. With this, I, Suraj,
And I, Adrita, sign off from the opening ceremony and request you all to join in your preferred panel discussions. Thank you everyone for joining us in the opening ceremony. I hope you all have a great day ahead.
thank you.